Hi, my name is Denuelle Meyer, certified personal life coach. In this video, I will be discussing fear as it affects women in their everyday lives. Then I give 5 simple yet effective techniques that you can use to overcome fear and go on to lead healthy, productive lives. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, good evening, everyone. So glad to see so many ladies here for this event. Welcome to St. Patrick's Event. This is not your parish. And we're just really glad today to have our parishioner, Denuelle Meyer, back. She was here, as most of you know, back in May, and it's just a kind of a jacuzzi for the mind. That should be like her slogan, jacuzzi for the mind. She's a life coach. She's a certified life coach, parishioner, a mom of 4 kids, and an author of a book entitled Okay. So you can purchase those over there. They're $15. Excellent book. Just to remind you of a lot of things she's going to say tonight. And she also has other little resources here, such as reminders of positive thinking, very creative little trinkets that she'll tell you about. We also have little greeting cards on your table here, and we're trying to get faith-sharing small groups in the parishes so people can kind of connect. So this is definitely an event where people connect and kind of get just open up. And so I thought that it might kind of segue into our small groups that we're starting. To kind of reflect together on the gospel in people's homes every maybe 2 weeks. You can get these to me afterwards, or you can drop them in the flesh. And then we just begin with a prayer. God, we just thank you for bringing us all here today. We just ask that that you may speak to us through just the wisdom of that Denuelle has for us, and the psychology has gained. We just thank you for this gorgeous day. In your name. Okay. No.
Thank you. I think these we're going to see here. These are available, yes. You don't even want to kind of turn around. I kind of will walk around, but so whatever you need to do to hear me or see me better. Do that. And there's chairs over there if you prefer to go on the next row over, wherever you feel more comfortable. Okay. Well, hello. It's so nice to see you. Hello. Thank you for coming. I see some familiar faces from last time, so that's a real honor that you would take another evening and want to come see me, so I thank you for that. It is always my pleasure to speak because I get a real charge, and particularly on tonight's topic. Michael had asked me, have you done this particular speech before? And I said, well, not really, but it's something that I get so excited about. So when I was putting this together, I was just typing, and I just really recognized that I could talk about this forever. Because I've come to the conclusion that this fear is ultimately one of the biggest problems that holds women back. And I see it with the hundreds of hours that I've had now working with women, exclusively clients of mine, that it's an atrocity and it really bothers me. Fear shrinks us and it makes us less than what we could be. It constrains us and it makes us less than what God really intended. He intended us for greatness. So it's always my pleasure, and I get a real charge out of working with women on this topic, whether it be in my personal practice or giving speeches, or with myself, because like everyone else, I'm human, and as I say, I get derailed, and I have to get back on. So I want to just talk a little bit about where I think this comes from. And if you're uncomfortable, ladies, feel free to get up and move. If you're uncomfortable in the front row, because I know we're really close. But I like closeness, so this is good. One of the things I think, what I believe beginning of this whole phenomenon of being afraid came from is when children are young, preschool children ask about 100 questions a day. And those of you who are moms or aunties or grandmothers or school teachers know that to be true. But 100 questions a day when they're in preschool. And they're asking and they're absorbing, and you answer the question and they turn around and they ask another question. And hopefully if we're present enough and not too crazy that day, you're kind of answering them and their curiosity is coming alive, and then the hows and the whys start. And you know what happens? By the time they reach middle school, they've all come to a screeching halt. No more questions are asked from middle school, which just makes me so annoyed. And it really fires me up because I think to myself, oh my God, that is exactly why, as adult women, we no longer ask questions. And I think what has happened, and it's just one of the reasons, is that when we, in school, when children go through school, going into the middle school, they are rewarded for answering questions, not for asking them. Teachers do not want to be bothered by a question. Yes, you always have those, really good teachers, but I'm talking in general. They're rewarded by giving the answer. So as a result, you just slowly shrink and you slowly stop doing what kind of annoys people, and you give them what they want to hear. As women, we have been conditioned to kind of do that as well. So what ends up happening is with fear, well, let me go back a minute. Why do we fear? And this is something that I have, kind of spent a lot of time trying to figure this out, and I see patterns with women, but it's always, a little bit different because we're all unique. So, but I'll stop and I'll see, why is that? Because I'm a big why person. I'm always looking for connecting the dots. And the minute you think you have it figured out, it changes, of course, as all of us know, right? So why do we fear? And I really have come to the conclusion one of the biggest reasons is we have this really crazy thought that if we fear and if we worry enough, it's somehow going to protect us. It's somehow going to make what we are worrying about and what we're fearful of not happen. It's almost like, well, if I can see it in my mind and I can really see the catastrophe, it's not going to happen. Does that make sense to anyone? Can anyone picture? Has anyone done that? Yeah, show of hands. Yeah. So we do that, but anyone that has lived through a catastrophe or lived through one of those, kind of bring you down on your knees moments in life, and I always get choked up because we all have. We know that does not protect us from pain. Pain is real, pain is raw, and pain is emotional. And worrying about it, being fearful of it, did not protect us, son of a gun. Right, yeah, it's like, oh, gosh. So we'll do that. So I think that's one of the reasons that we fear. What fear does is it really does rob us of joy. And if you were, if you had the pleasure, you came last time, I remember saying that we can't have those two emotions at once. We can't have opposite emotions at the same time. So we can't both feel fear and joy at the same time. We can't be stressed and really, really happy at the same time. One pretty much cancels out the other. So it robs us of feeling joy. It robs us of feeling happiness, of contentment, of feeling like we are exactly where we need to be. What does fear do to us? That's kind of why we fear. I mean, it's a small little nutshell, but I want to get to the good stuff. Fear, what fear does to us is fear actually makes us want to do something. And all of you are familiar with the flight or fight response. That phenomenon came about, centuries ago when man had that to protect himself from literally being eaten from a lion. So he was in a position where he needed to stay alive. So if there was a lion, his body had to tell him, I need to either stay and fight off the lion or flee. So man was up against animals and nature centuries ago. And that is ultimately, or that is where it really came from. When that happens, when our body goes in, when his body would go into flight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system would go in and adrenaline would be released, cortisol would be released, and those told him to do something. Go, 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 do, physically go kill, go run, go do something. Everyone's familiar with adrenaline. Maybe not as much with the other one, but I mean, that's what adrenaline does. You get that adrenaline drive and you're like, oh baby, I got this thing. Or I'm gonna kick because you are so mad. Adrenaline, right? I love all your smiles too when I am. Yeah. I'm gonna take these out because these are bugging me, so they might be bugging you, so excuse me a second. Okay. So, that is how man survived. Hopefully wasn't eaten by the lion. Hopefully he survived, and that's why that existed. Our bodies have not adapted yet to the fact that we very rarely need a whole fight or flight response. It's very rare nowadays. We do need it, and I have seen women who, I've not seen firsthand, but I've seen and heard as a therapist occasions a rape victim. She knew. I've had so many victims sit in front of me when I used to work with rape and domestic violence victims that said, oh my God, Denuelle, right before I was walking out of that bar and I had a gut feeling. She knew. So her fight or flight kicked in. Hopefully, none of us will ever experience something like that. Your house burning down, but something like that where it's really, really necessary. So that's when we do need it on a rare occasion. But our body never adapted to that. Our body and our mind, it still does fight or flight, even though it's not really necessary. So when we fear over more common things, not necessarily life or death, our body still will go into fight or flight. It'll still release those hormones. As a result, we experience, a whole host of things. Shortness of breath, sweating, dizziness, short-term memory loss, basically rapid heartbeat, lots of different things our body will do. And when that happens, hopefully we're able to go work it out. Hopefully we're able to either mentally let it go, or better yet, exercise it out, because it's adrenaline that wants to do something. Our body wants to be able to physically move and do something. But if we continue to fear and we don't do something productive, the long-term effects are catastrophic. And that's where we get ourselves into a lot of trouble. Premature coronary artery disease, heart attack, depression, huge. I have a lot of women that come to me with depression. They don't know it's depression, but they come to me with depression. So there's really serious things that happen, and it hurts and it pisses me off when I see this because there's things we can do about it. We don't have to live with this fear, but as a society, we're not sure what to do with it. We're just not sure. So what happens is, and we don't want to necessarily move a mountain or go real far so we feel more secure, kind of just staying in our little box. We're going to stay here. This feels good. It's what I know. I only can pivot around a little bit, but I don't want to rock the boat, right? And for those of you that are of a certain age, it gets worse. Now I've done it for this long. I hear it all the time. Oh my gosh, Denuelle, I've been this way for 50 years. I'm not going to change now. I've been this way for 60 years. I've been this way. Fill in the blank. So then our box gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and now we are just in a real world of hurt. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab a quick drink of water. So, the good news is, we can do something about it. And I have successfully seen it and done it and worked on it with women, and you have seen this probably in different facets or read articles, but not necessarily thought that you could implement it yourself. So what I want to do, just because I'm a visual person, the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to show you, this is what it looks like visually when we kind of go through life with fear, and that is our scope, that's our lens, it's kind of what we see. We're on that defense all the time. This is what we're going to see. Little fanciness here, ladies, so settle back, don't get too excited. You like that? All right, so what do you see? Shredded paper. And what do you see? What do you see with anything else that you see? Shredded paper.
I'm thinking mess.
Mess? Look, I did something over here. Colors. What kind of colors do you see? White and black. And red.
Red.
Red. Yep, there's a little tiny bit of red in there. Little tiny. Pretty muted. Pretty muted. Black and white is clearly what I was going for, so thank you. So black and white, a little bit of red. Okay, so this is what happens. This is what literally happens now with the shredded paper. When we start to see the world with choices and knowing that we have positive techniques and we gain freedom from fear. That, I love those moves. Give them to me, give them to me. That's what we see. So what do we see now? Color. Brightness. Brightness. What else? What else do we see? Diversity. Diversity. Love that, love that. Choices. Possibilities. It's like your reaction did say it all. It was like, okay, what the heck is Denuelle? All right, yeah, that's great. What else you got for me? And then you all went, whoa. That's really what it does. Freedom from fear, our lens completely opens up. How we see the world changes, and we start to see possibilities. We start to see color. We start to see vibrancy. We become creative. And the minute we allow ourselves to become creative, watch out, nothing is going to stop you. It's amazing. I see it all the time, and I'll say to my clients, whoa, I want to hug you through the phone, because you can feel that vibration. Okay, so that is what happens. So this is what we're focusing on. We're focusing on that. Okay, so what I want to do tonight is give you 5 positive techniques that I hope and really think that you'll be able to take home with you, put them in your back pocket, and pull out as needed. And those are techniques so that you can go forward pretty much for any fear that you have. But I will tell you this. The one fear that I see the most, that most women, that holds them back from innovating, that holds them back from changing, that holds them back from growing, is fear of failure. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really not a surprise. You're all shaking your head. It's fear of failure. Why do you think that is? Any guesses? Just yell them out. Why do you think that is? Fear of failure. Why is that number 1?
Because it's a competitive world.
Oh, yes.
Be embarrassed.
Yes.
You don't want to look bad.
It's a competitive world. You don't want to look bad. Yeah. Yeah. And what did you say, ma'am?
Be embarrassed.
Be embarrassed. Yes. 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 I was embarrassed last time my bra stripped from falling down. I don't know if whoever remembers that. That was embarrassing, but it is what it is, you know. I was like, so yeah. What's that?
Go with the flow.
I did. I actually said it. I'm like, you know, my bra strip keeps falling down. That I did not plan for my talk. What else? Why else are we afraid of failing? What are the reasons? Do you think?
Your life will change.
Yeah, no. That's okay. Go ahead.
Did you say so? Your life will change.
Life will change. That's a great point. And then our box might expand. We might even get out of the box and get onto one of those spiral things. You know the spiral, the spiral that keeps going and going and going and going, and there's no roof? Whoa, that would be really scary. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else?
Might be successful.
You might be successful. Got it. And if we're successful, then if our fear train takes over, we have more to prove and more to do, and oh my gosh, and then what? Yeah. So, fear of failure is really the kind of skeletal system of how I do my talks and how I, kind of look at things. So I say that to you tonight because you can put in fear of fill in the blank for yourself if you have a personal thing that you're going through, but ultimately, they all kind of have the same idea. And that is what holds us back from innovating. It's fear of failure. And it's personal, and it's in our careers. No boundary between the two. Doesn't matter. Okay, so tonight, what I'm going to do is I want to tell you about my 5 techniques for positive change. Give me back for a minute. The first one is S, and it's going to stand for shift. The next one is A, and it stands for ask. The next, I think Michael put some paper around. Is that what I'm hearing whispering about? I don't know. I should have brought one too. Oh, you know what? Here. If anyone wants a bigger piece, feel free to rip 1 or 2 off, and you can pass it around. P is for prepare. F is for focus. And S is going to be for surround. Okay, so what I have is shift, ask, prepare, focus, and surround. I really tried to make them do something for you, like, when they come up with those really cute, like it spells cute, it says focus. I couldn't make it work, sorry ladies. So it's zaps. Sorry, I tried. I moved those suckers around for a good 15 minutes and it was not working. So we're doing zaps. Okay, so the first one is shift. Shift, 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 shift. I do this all the time personally. I've gotten pretty good at it and it works. And I work on this continuously with my clients. Shift our thinking. Shift your thinking. Huge. I mean, this is, it's probably the number one thing that you can learn to do, become super good at it, that you can do it within 2 seconds, and never lose again. It's a tool for your toolbox. It is easier than you think, and it is something that you can teach other people. Shift your thinking. This is so huge because you often hear people say, well, I thought this, or I thought that. And our thoughts can get us into a lot of trouble. Remember that our thoughts lead to, I'll try this one. Our thoughts lead to our feelings. Huge, huge, huge. Our feelings are what lead to our actions or our inaction, technically. We work off of our feelings usually because we're feeling type people. Women are emotional, men are logical. So particularly for women, we work off of our feelings. So we have a thought, it leads to a feeling, and then we act upon the feeling most of the time. So, if we then can say to ourselves and say it over and over and over, because for some of you, it is maybe a new way of thinking. We have to change a pattern, and that's all that is changing a pattern. We have to then say, I'm going to stop the thought. I'm going to stop the thought. We can choose this, and that's a really big thing. It's a really big thing. It's a heartbreaking thing, because I'll have women that will ultimately need therapy because they don't believe they can choose it. You can choose to change your thoughts. The choice is, do I stay with the thought that makes me feel bad, or do I choose to activate a good feeling? That's really what this comes down to. I'll repeat that. Do I stay with the thought that makes me feel bad, feel lousy, feel unworthy, feel terrible, or do I choose to activate the thought that leads me to feel good? It's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. Okay, so basically, if you picture a thought, because I'm definitely a visual person. If you picture like squeezing a tennis ball in your hand and you're holding it, I should have brought a tennis ball. That would be good. You're gripping the tennis ball, okay, and you're gripping it and you're holding it really tight. And all of a sudden, you just open up your grip. You let go and the ball falls. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. You're squeezing that thought, and it's leading to that feeling. And you have the power to just let the thought go. Just let it go into thin air, literally. And what I even say to myself sometimes, because I do have a tendency to talk to myself, is I'll say, hey, thanks, it's ego talking, thanks for the thought, but no thanks, I'm all set. I don't need your unsolicited advice that's going to put me in the dumpster. So you just tell it, thanks, but no thanks. You're not worthy, you're not thin enough, you're not old enough, you're not young enough, you're not worthy enough, I think I just said that one, you're not smart enough, that's a big one, you're not pretty enough, you're not enough. Bye-bye, thank you. Anyways, the minute that thought comes in, thanks, I don't need your advice. I appreciate it, but bye-bye. Sometimes I tell clients, and it's a little green gremlin that comes on your shoulder. I grew up with the Jetsons, so he was like, always zooming around and that, and I'll just say, flick it off. Throw up a stop sign, see a visual stop sign. Whatever you need to do to get rid of the thought. Now, I guarantee there's some of you, and I doubt anyone will admit it, that say to you, Denuelle, if I hold on to that thought, it helps me prevent something. Because we believe that. What I was saying earlier, it helps me prevent something. It's like, if I let that go, then all hell's going to break loose. It won't, I promise. Practice that. If you walked away with I promise you, if you walked away with nothing else but that, you and diligently practice that for 1 week straight, I guarantee you will see results. I guarantee it. It is something that truly works, and it's easy to do once you get the hang of it. Okay, so another way you can do this is ask myself what I'm thinking. Okay, I mean, I do this with clients, so I'm going to try to give you a bit of a dialogue as if I were a client. I don't want to put anyone on the hot seat. But if you're going through something that's tough, you can ask yourself, what am I thinking? Someone throw out just an example of something that might make you feel bad. Feel like crap, really. Not just bad, but throw out an example. What's that?
I'm afraid of getting a certain illness.
Okay, so fear of our body breaking down on us. Fear of cancer, fear of, and that thought would make you feel scared, angry maybe, impression. What else? How would that make you feel? If you were scared of getting a certain illness, vulnerable, anxious, worry, they're cousins. Yeah. So I ask then, well, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel instead? And maybe you would say what? I want to feel carefree, would be the opposite. Content, peaceful, powerful, love powerful, yeah. Okay. So then I ask, well, if you could have those things, would you take them? Would you take those feelings if I just gave them to you on a platter? Say aye if you agree. Yes? Yes. Take them. Take them. And you can say to yourself, I formally take the feeling of feeling happy, contented, peaceful, worthy, and joyful. And this works, and you can do it over and over and over. It works. You can actually formally say, I am going to have these things. I'm going to take them. It works nicely hand in hand with that, is what we're talking about. Okay, so shift your thoughts. It's incredible, it's very powerful, and it works. Okay, that's the first technique. Shifting from a negative thought that keeps you down into a positive, more uplifting thought. And I could go on and on about that, but for brevity's sake, I'm going to stop there. The next one is ask. And I'm going to wait till the end because this one supercharges me up, so we're going to wait for that till the end. The next one is P for prepare. Excuse me. Prepare is huge because one of the things that we're fearful of is the unknown. We're scared because we can't visualize it and we can't see it. And so that is one of the reasons that we're afraid. We're afraid of failure and we're afraid of whatever that blank may be because we're not sure of it. So the best way to get over that is to prepare. And this is why vision boards work so good. And I think it was Cheryl Richardson, which is one of the first coaches in America that really got a grooming practice going a long time ago. And it might have been Oprah, but regardless, vision boards have been on the scene for a long time now. And what they are is really what they sound like is you vision, you have, kind of what you want to have happen. So some people will put, good health, so a picture of a magazine of a woman jogging, or a house, or a spouse, or, whatever they want. I'm all for them. I think that we cannot accept something until we visually see it. I think that the world kind of says, well, here it is. You've thought about it all this time. Here it is. I think there's more to that. And I'll say to my clients, okay, it's time to throw away our vision board and get an action board. But that's more of what I do on a private practice way. But so prepare. Any athlete will tell you, any professional athlete, or many I should say, will tell you that they mentally rehearsed everything before it actually occurred. Surgeons, I've heard surgeons during interviews say the same thing. I can mentally see exactly what I'm going to do step by step. The runner that is preparing for the race of his life, in his mind, hears the shot go off, can see his feet go out, can know the minute that he's going to take it up a notch and can totally see, feel as if he is there crossing that finish line. He is so mentally prepared. Preparation is powerful. Fear is not preparation. Preparation is preparation. Do not confuse the two. Focus. Focus on gratitude. If you joined me last time, you know that I am a huge, huge, huge believer in this. And I truly believe that we are meant to be appreciative beings. This is why. When we focus on gratitude, what went well is another way. Martin Siegelman was terrific in positive psychology. He's a great positive psychologist. And he focuses on what went well, 3 W's. So at the end of the day, he suggests you sit down and say, what went well today? Another way is saying a gratitude journal. What am I grateful for? You can't express appreciative thoughts and be fearful at the same time. So we're focusing on things that we truly are grateful for. Sometimes we're having one of those days, one of those weeks, or one of those months where it's literally breathing. It's breathing. Man, we're just grateful we beat that cancer. We're just grateful that our husband's with us for another few months. Other days, it's my toothpaste, my great cup of coffee. There is no right or wrong. What you're grateful for is certainly not any of my concern, nor should it be. And if it is, I am so grateful that I found that amazing sale on that great pair of shoes. Absolutely. There's no right or wrong. I think you said it earlier about how, or perhaps it was you, how we do this whole compare thing. Well, you're shallow because you are excited that you got that sale, but you're definitely a deeper human being because you're grateful you're breathing. Bullshit. Because if we were all honest with ourselves, we've all had that whole range of emotions. If we've lived longer than a day, we've had that range of emotions where some days I am just so excited because I don't know what, put together a cute outfit. That makes me shallow, so be it. My happy scale is here and I'm going to claim it. Because I know the alternative. Feeling like crap, not that great. So focus on gratitude, whatever that will be. And the beautiful, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing about this, and studies have proven it, is that gratitude, when built up over time, which I call deposits. So in other words, if I always say, are you making with deposits or withdrawals, or taking out withdrawals for yourself? So those of you who may have known me or heard me before, I'll say, are you keeping yourself on the list? Is that putting a deposit or a withdrawal? Hopefully we're doing this. We've all felt the burn when all we're doing is withdrawing. Okay. Focusing on gratitude is cumulative. So if we do that enough, we are making continual deposits, and it does help us when the stuff knocks us to our knees. It does. I've seen it in therapy and I've seen it in coaching. There is a piece of resiliency that is definitely connected to gratitude. It helps. So it's a wonderful thing to do on a regular basis, but also know you're giving a deposit into your long-term cumulative reservoir of, if you will, of keeping yourself healthy and sane and happy. It is something that you can draw on, and you will subconsciously, no doubt, if and when something does happen. That shakes you, that makes you sad, that makes you second guess what the hell is this all for. It's good stuff, and it works. The next one is surround. Surround yourself with wonderful, like-minded, beautiful, contagious women. Get rid of the naysayers. Get rid of the Debbie Downers. You're laughing because either you've heard me say it a million times or because you know what I mean. It drives me insane when I see adult women, I'm just going to say 25 and older. I don't even know. That's probably not what they call adults anymore, right? It's like 32 or something. It's so ridiculous. Act like they're adolescent teenagers with friends. It drives me insane. I see it all the time. I hear about it all the time. And what do? We know what we do. We know what we do. I don't even have to go there. I talk about it a little bit in my book. We gossip and we do all those self-defeating behaviors. If you don't like your friends, get rid of them. And go find some new ones. Right? Our chair is going to start moving away from each other. No, I'm just kidding. It's a huge thing. And if the Debbie Downers and the naysayers are people that you're related to, and it's not hard, and I know from your laughter that you know, then we have to at least minimize our time with them. We have to at least minimize our time with them. We have to take control and not say that I'm a victim here. So that is a big, big thing. Surround yourself with women who bring you up, who help you expand, who they don't enable you to shrink. They want to see joy. They bring joy to your life. They fill you up when you are down on your knees. They are I call them the true blues, because to me there's girlfriends, there's acquaintances, and then there are my true blues. And my true blues, man, I guarantee they're going to be holding my hand when I get the epidural, and they're going to be bailing me out of jail at 2 a.m., and they're not going to ask questions, and they're still going to be my friend in the morning. Those are my true blues. I believe It's a Chick Thing is a great book, and it's by, oh my goodness, I can't believe she actually wrote, oh, I feel terrible, she wrote a nice endorsement for my book. I'll think of it in a minute. I can't, just draw a blank. She writes in this book, it's a great book if you have for yourself, for daughters. She writes about all our different kinds of friends. So she writes about how you should have, ideally you have the friend that is the one that's going to pray with you and is really going to keep you spiritually centered. And then you should have the friend that you want to pull out your pocket on a Friday night and go dance at a bar with. She's the one that you know for sure is going to make you pee your pants and get in trouble. And then you have the friend that is going to be the lifelong friend that's going to see you through all the ups and downs. And there's two more. And I think that that's really true too. If you are blessed to have one from every group, man, that's amazing. If you're blessed just to have a couple true blues, that's really good. I remember when I was young, I remember going through the whole thing. My daughter's actually just started it, going to be 14, of just how do I name, what are these friends? Are they true friends? It's so hard. I now know what my mom went through to see. And I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, if you are lucky to have 2 solid blue girlfriends your whole life, you're lucky enough. And I remember at the time wanted to be voted Miss Popularity, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so old. Yeah, right, Mom. Like, I'm like, Miss Congeniality. And she was right again. Geez, how amazing how moms are, they're always right. Yeah. So if you have a couple of those true blues and you need to say bye-bye to the ones that are still pulling the crap, at 45 and 55 and 65 and 75, life is too short. Surround yourself with women that are going to uplift you, help you expand, and bring you joy. Okay. Ask. Ask is, for sure, the most exciting part, as if I wasn't excited enough. All right, ready? Because I believe there are so many good questions that you can ask yourself. I use them in my practice often, and I picked the top 7. They're really not, I can't tell you that they're the best, but they're really good ones. So I have 7 for you. And I am going to list them for you. The first question, and these are the fear-killing, fear-busting, I'm going to knock you in the teeth questions. These are the positive techniques of the positive techniques. They get you where you need to go if you're willing to, number 1, ask them, and number 2, answer them. So I've seen women that I've asked and they won't answer them. They're like, yeah, she's not going to be okay, not going to go there today. Okay. And you know what? I did forget. I'm going to go back in 1 second, totally, because I think this one's important too. I think you said earlier anxiety, and then I said worry, they're cousins. So fear is often wears like the coat of anxiety, or it'll wear the pants of worry. They're all interchangeable. I mean, technically, if you go to Webster's Dictionary, they're not going to be, but they often have the same symptoms. So another quick technique before I go into the ask questions is how to quiet worry. If you're a worrier, say yay. If you've ever worried. Your middle name is worry. Okay, yeah. So a real quick thing that you can do to see if this is necessary worry is to ask yourself 2 questions. Is what I'm worrying about necessary? I know it sounds redundant. And can I take an action to stop it? Okay. So an example that Gay Hendricks uses in The Big Leap, which is a great book, he says, a good example of this is like you're driving to work and you stop and you think, gosh, I think I left the coffee pot on. So that's your thought. So is it necessary? Well, yeah, I could burn the house down. Can I take an action? I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but I hope you know what I mean. Can I take an action? Can I do something to stop it? And the answer is yes. I can turn around and go home, or I can call home and see if someone can turn the pot off. Necessary worry. You can do that real quick in your mind. If you find yourself in the worry loop, or if worry is your middle name, and you're really trying to break the habit. That's what you can do, to just kind of figure out, okay, is this necessary? Is it going? If you can do something about it, then yes. Okay, so I digressed there for a minute, but I thought it was important. Okay, so ask. The first question, which many of you, if probably not all of you, have heard, is this. What would I do if I knew I would not fail? And what that question does is it takes you immediately from seeing just black and white and seeing fear and seeing everything that's going down in the dumps to seeing color. What it does, the question actually opens up your lens. It widens everything that you see. And when our vision is opened wider, we see more. When we see more, we then have possibilities that emerge. Freedom from fear makes the impossible possible is what it does. When we remove that narrow way of looking at things. So what would I do if I knew I could not fail? So failure is no longer even on the table. What would I do? So a really big one. The second one is, I'm going to look at my cheat sheet here. What if blank wasn't an issue? What if blank wasn't an issue? And then you can fill that in. What if time wasn't an issue? What if money wasn't an issue? What if age wasn't an issue? So often we use that as an excuse to stay stuck. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. I'm too old. I'm too young. Pardon me?
Did never say that.
She never says that she's too young. So when we remove that constraint, it opens up a whole world of possibilities. And therefore, we start getting some solutions, some answers, some ideas, some possibilities. So what would I do if blank wasn't an issue? What would I do if I could start with a blank page? It's a big one. It kind of makes me a little like, ooh, when I ask it, when I say it to myself periodically, and when I say it to clients, because it automatically takes away what's been done. And that opens up a whole world for us. Because we have a tendency to think that what's been done is permanent, hence staying stuck. So if we say, what if I could start with a blank page? Or what if I'm given a clean slate? It opens up so much of just saying, oh, it's fresh. And actually when I say it, even just saying it to you, I feel it's like, wow, I could. Might not be easy. Not saying any of this is going to be easy. Not saying it wouldn't take work, and I'm certainly not saying it wouldn't take your resources of time, energy, and money if you really have to pour it in, but it could be done. So that's a pretty cool one. It really opens up this entire world. If you could just say, what could I do? I'll hear clients, I'll hear women, not necessarily just in passing, you'll hear, how often, and I want to hear show of hands, or at least a grin of those of you who have said, oh, wish I was 18 again. If only I could go back, I'd go back.
And know what I know now.
And of course. And we say that kind of jokingly, and it is joking, but sometimes it comes from this deep place within us that says, shit, I missed out. Man, it's coming, and I'm still back there, and I got so much to do, and oh my gosh, I wish I could go back, because I would do it different. Well, when you say, if you start with a clean slate, if you start with a blank page, it reminds us that technically, today is a clean slate. You really could do it. And it gives us the freedom then to not have the constraint of what was done, to not feel bad, to not feel guilty, to not feel shameful, to not feel unworthy of whatever we possibly had a hand in orchestrating up to this point. Because those are the big, big brothers and sisters of why we don't move forward, all those. And I talk about them in my book, the guilt, the worry, the shame. It's huge. So when we say, can we start with a blank slate, it's as if we're giving ourselves a free pass, which, by the way, ladies, we deserve. God did not put us here to suffer. He put us here for greatness. Then we can say, all right, let's get moving. Big one. That's a big one. Someone said this earlier, this lady right here, I believe that, what if I succeed? Now, I know that I have talked about, because what ifs can be used in two ways, to bring us down or to propel us forward. Okay, so as hopefully you're getting from tonight's talk, I'm talking about what's going to propel us forward. So what if I succeed? What if I really succeed? That's exciting. That's exciting. What if I succeed? It opens up a whole thing. I can finally feel like I've left my stamp on this world. If I succeed in raising these children, and my legacy is that I left behind really good kids, man, that's good stuff. If I succeed at really, really turning this company around that's based on just immorality and pure shit right now, and I get these employees to start talking to each other and really start putting some feeling into their work, wow, I can do that? That's good stuff. If I succeed at getting my daughter into rehab, who's a heroin addict, because I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to see her get her GED and graduate and maybe someday have kids, oh, that's good stuff. Ask, what if I succeed? What is going to come out of this that is going to be so good that someday when I'm standing, right there, St. Paul, St. Peter, and I got God, and I say, hey, I used up everything you gave me. Good stuff. What if I succeed? Ask it to propel yourself forward, not to hold yourself back. What if I do nothing? What if I do nothing? We don't like this one. My clients do not like this one because I hear the audible, and I swear this is right where they would punch me through the phone because then I hold them accountable. And what if I do nothing? Well, if I do nothing, and my higher power, the world, is willing me and calling me to change and innovate, and I know, and I do nothing, what's going to happen? Nothing. And what happens to us as spiritual beings? We shrink. We shrink. It's sad. You see it? You very well may have someone in your own life that's doing it right now. It makes you want to cry. We feel unworthy. If I do nothing, I'm just going to basically just kind of wither away. Because if the greatness in me is calling to change and innovate and move forward, and I choose not to listen to that, what's going to happen? What if I do nothing is a great question. Answering it honestly will really open up a whole thing for you. If I do nothing and I do not choose to leave this abusive friendship, because it happens between women too, I've learned how to become a doormat. I've basically given a free pass to my daughter not to expect great things from her girlfriends. If I stay and I do nothing in this abusive marriage, the same is true. If I really believe that I should be painting and sending them off to Roswell just to, brighten up the rooms, and I don't do that, I die with my song in me. What a shame. It always brings tears to my eyes. What a shame. God does not want us to do that. He put us here for greatness. He put us here to change and innovate and evolve. Yes, make mistakes. Yes, fall down. And yes, get back up and be even greater and even stronger and even more powerful. Good question. What if I do nothing? Number 6. What's truly worth doing whether I succeed or I fail? And I purposefully put it next to that other question because ultimately it is, at the end of our days, kind of question. What is that song in me? What is that gift? What is that little voice that wants to come out so badly trying to tell me? And if we truly tap into that, we will follow that knowing that, gosh, even if I fail, there's got to be something in that. That song will have come out of me, and I'll move on to the next one. It'll stop driving me crazy. Big, big question. And it really is an important one to ask. Because sometimes we will then use succeed or fail as our red or green light. Well, this one, ladies, I hate to tell you, it takes away that completely. What should you do even if you're not sure of the outcome, which a lot of times we aren't? And number 7, when we are planning and when we're trying to figure it all out, and we're close to pulling the trigger, but we're really still scared and fearful, we can ask ourselves, if the worst happens, how will I recover? And that is preparing. That is preparing. Because what that question does is it allows our mind to really start thinking about our resources, both internally and externally. So it helps to expand our thinking into, okay, I've done this, and I remember failing at this, or I remember that horrible breakup that I had. And I did gain a new sense of freedom from that. I did succeed at moving forward and buying my own house or, applying for my first credit card. It reminds us of our internal resources. And it also allows us to start kind of almost making like a list of our external resources. If the worst does happen and I fall flat on my face, I know darn well Susan Q is going to be there to pick me up my true blue. She said I could move in with her. If I go for broke and put all my money into this house because it's a lifelong dream and I'm 55 years old and I just got divorced and I've never, ever, ever owned a house and I'm not really sure if I should do it, and I know damn well that my girlfriend will put me on her couch if I fail, it helps us prepare and plan. And it takes away the unknown. It takes away the fear of actually failing because we say, well, if I fail, guess what? Got a plan. So it takes away that as a way of keeping us stuck. Do you want to share, ladies?
No, I just said we're coming to Rachel's son. This girl here.
Is her couch big? Because I bet
She
she
has
has
an
another room in there.
apartment. She has an apartment.
Very good. Okay. So in closing, I want to just tell you that we are meant for greatness. I truly believe this. I've witnessed this, and I have seen, I've had the pleasure, I mean, it's just pure awesome what I do. It's just amazing. I've seen women who have said, that's what I want. I know it like I know it, and I'm going to go for it. We were meant to be happy. We were meant to be courageous and awesome, and not to shrink for anyone or anything. That was not our Creator's plan when He made us. He made us perfect in His eyes for a reason. And it is awesome when we can truly stop and say, I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to throw fear to the curb, and I'm going to look this in the face and do this. I want to just close with a wonderful, wonderful quote, paragraph, if you will, from a spiritual teacher and author, Marianne Williamson. Some of you may be familiar with her. And I just kind of got chills when I was reading this. I'm very familiar with it, and it made me just feel like, oh my gosh, this is really what it's about. Here we go. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you, ladies, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denuelle, for doing this and for volunteering your time for the ladies of the parish. And this is just something that everyone needs to hear. So I really appreciate it.
Hello again. I hope you enjoy my video and find these techniques as useful as I have. Please feel free to leave a comment, and if you'd like to see more videos of mine as they come out, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also visit my Google Plus page or read my blog, and subscribe to my email list at denuellemeyer.com. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.